In this video, I'll show you how to add the inner shadow effect using the Layer Effects Studio in Affinity Photo on the iPad. I'm almost finished my mini Sonic series where I'm looking at the effects inside the Layer Effects Studio. Today we're learning all about the inner shadow effect, so let's get into it. So as always, we're just going to bounce into Affinity Photo and we're going to click into our Sonic project. We're almost there with the Sonic project. Today we're going to look at the inner shadow. To start off looking at the inner shadow, I'm actually going to look at the inner shadow on this text because I think it's an easier way of explaining it, and then we'll maybe add it somewhere else in this project. So if I go to Sonic, if I click into Layer Effects, again you can click into Layer Effects by clicking the layer and into FX, or simply by selecting the layer and going into the Layer Effects menu on the right hand side. So I'm just going to turn off our outer shadow, our bevel and emboss, and our gradient overlay. We're left with just white text. So if I click into inner shadow, turn it on, nothing happens, or seemingly nothing happens. The blend mode, just for our teaching purpose, we'll go into normal because it will show up much easier. The intensity's down. We need to bring the intensity up. We'll bring it up to 100%. It's still doing nothing. As soon as we start playing about with the offset, you can see it's starting to look, that's way too much. You can use your finger to go left and right or click onto a value. There's 10. And that's quite nice. That does look as if it's punched down a bit. It's sunken in. If I bring the opacity up, that's even a wee bit better. The intensity is too much. The intensity always, I think, makes it too much. So we're going to bring it down to 50%. Sometimes in Affinity Photo, you have a few values here. Sometimes you do it manually. We'll maybe make it 20%. And it maybe just softens the edge ever so slightly. So we'll talk about some of these modes. Blend modes, as always, we can click left and right. And seeing it set at black, nothing much will change too much. Seeing it's black and white, we can click into it and go through these blend modes. For this example, we'll click into normal. The opacity, normally I would maybe make it about 75 for an inner shadow. The radius will just soften the edges, and I do normally soften it maybe 10 pixels. Just makes it a wee bit more natural. There's a wee bit more of a fall off to it. The offset, if we set it to 0, you'll actually see the inner shadow starting to be applied all around the subjects. And as soon as we start to offset it, you can see it coming in. And we can go, that's far too extreme for my liking anyway. We can change the color, as always. We can change it red. Maybe blue would be quite interesting. But normally for an inner shadow, you're looking at the dark colors and black, and then the final option here is the angle of the drop shadow, and for me anything but 45 just on this case looks a wee bit odd. So that's how the Sonic text is looking, and it looks okay. Maybe bring the offset down just a little, and I think that looks quite nice. Maybe the opacity we could change to 50%. And maybe liking that a wee bit more. Maybe bring the intensity to 50%. Maybe not, 25 is okay. And that's looking okay. And in a nutshell, that's what the inner shadow does. But for the sake of this project, I'm going to take it off because I'm very happy with our gradient, our bevel and emboss, and our outer shadow. But seeing this is a project where we're trying to use all these layer effects, I'm gonna try the inner shadow, maybe round here, maybe in this yellow. So we'll click down. We're on this layer now. We've already got a layer effect applied to it. We've got the outline, of course, and we've got a bit of an outer glow that just lifts it off from the background. So if we click into inner shadow, and straight away, I actually quite like what it's doing there. Again, I'll turn it off. And I turn it on, and it just looks as if, that's very nice, it just looks as if it's got a bit of a shadow and it's just lifting that, or it's making it look a wee bit more interesting. I click through the blend modes, set up multiply. I'll maybe try, I think multiply is okay. I'm happy with the opacity. The radius, if we go in too much, you're going to see the outer glow in these stars being affected too much, and that doesn't look too realistic. The offset, that'll make it look as if there's an inner shadow coming here quite drastically, but I'm not liking that so much. I'm liking the way the offset was there. We'll bring it straight to 0 because I'm liking just a wee bit of an inner shadow there. The angle doesn't matter if I change it, just because the offset's 0. If I make the offset just 48 or so now, I can look as if it's changing the angle, but by having the offset 0, the angle won't do anything. I'm happy with that color. Well, I say I'm happy, and then I'm going to just try changing it to this blue to see what happens. Maybe a slightly darker blue. Maybe that's just a wee bit nicer. The intensity, that's far too intense. Maybe change it to 50. Just change the radius a wee bit. And I'm quite liking that. That's giving it just a wee bit more depth. So before we go, we'll maybe just look at these stars. Just now we've done that inner shadow. This white just stands out a wee bit too much for me. So we'll just go into our layers. We'll click into our star. We'll go into the layer effects, outer glow. And instead of changing these values, we'll maybe just change the blending mode. And just by going across, we'll see if any look a wee bit better. And I've stopped the overlay there because I think that looks quite nice. Now I know it's changed it from white, but let's give it a wee bit of a yellow. Although I'm just going to go back to the original, and it doesn't really have anything. So I'm quite happy with the yellow. I think it blends in a wee bit better than the white. And instead of going in individually to each of these stars, noting down the value of this bottom one, what we're going to do is click on the star layer, click these 3 dots, go down to pasteboard, click copy. Now if I click the first star and then just simply swipe on the other 3 star level layers, click the 3 dots, click pasteboard, down to paste FX. This will hopefully paste this layer effect into these 3 stars now. And boom, just like that, it's gone from white into yellow. And I quite like that. I think it just adds a wee something. Let's just move that away. I think that looks really, really nice. So we've done an inner glow here. We've done an inner shadow here. And I think that looks really nice. So there you have it. Please like this video if you found any value in it. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel as I release 2 or sometimes 3 videos every week. Leave a comment too if you wish, as I love reading them and replying to them. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.